Awesome.
The nature of consciousness. So this is a performance piece. It features an ensemble of dancers, but the setting really calls our attention to this need for renewable energy sources like wind power, as it is set in a wind turbine field. And the dancers have like a modern flowing style to their dance. The wind is featured in this piece beautifully. The narration really pushes the piece forward, and it overall makes this messaging really clear and pulls it all together.
This was really fascinating. I thought it was just great the way they paired the dance movements with the narration we were hearing, um, which I know I've heard somewhere else before, and it was great. It had this familiarity to it, but at least for me. But it was just a great juxtaposition to the visuals, but at the same time, sort of worked with them. I thought the setting, which I presume is wind farm in California, was a great choice. It just felt right. And overall, it was just a really fascinating marriage of all these elements that really worked out rather well. I enjoyed it.
The nature of consciousness. I thought this was interesting. I loved that they kind of seemingly took. It sounds like a lecture, maybe an interview, but it sounded a little more like a lecture to me from a different time, and that's just based off of the quality of the sound and the kind of the tone, the pace, the kind of dramatic pauses, the way that it was spoken, but everything that was being said is still very, very much applicable and still very, I think, relevant, especially when you're presenting it in this kind of context. And then I loved the point of views that they were able to get with the dancers in the desert, with those huge like wind turbines. I thought was all really, really beautiful. And when you're talking about consciousness and you're talking and you're pairing that with something as creative and as instinctual for a lot of people and as, kind of, it can be pure, obviously, like there are choreographed dances as well, and choreography is a huge part of dance. But when you're talking about consciousness and you're pairing it with something like dance, I think that there's such a beautiful playfulness between the two, and there's such a beautiful connection between the two of consciousness and moving your body, and especially when you're moving your body through dance specifically. I thought that that was really, really beautiful to pair together, and I thought it worked really, really well, especially with, having dance and having it be so fluid and so beautiful, how the dancers were kind of working together, and the fluidity of their movements, pairing that with this lecture or this voiceover specifically, it was almost like meditative, but I felt like it lent itself to really absorbing what he was saying and letting those kind of concepts and ideas sink a little bit deeper. So I thought it worked really, really well together.
I really liked the nature of consciousness. As far as like the choreography, I thought that it was really well executed, really emotional. Um, Specifically, like it could not have been easy to do that, to get all the people together and then choreograph with the camera. The camera adds a whole other element that y'all gotta coordinate, and I think y'all executed it perfectly against the backdrop of the when you add in against the backdrop of the wind turbines. I thought that was great. On the beach, that was great. And I think it all came together really well to make a great piece of art, So great job.